Mississippi, Ghost Eye, Legacy, and Kite. So these guys, we're going to be cycling through their perspectives. There you can see the overview of how Turning Point is played. We're currently on section number 1. 3 points will be contested. And you know what? Let's go over to Vicstar's perspective. He's going to be playing from the Rebel side. They are going to be the ones who will be attacking. As you mentioned before, this is a different perspective than what we saw last time with Walker Assault, right, Dennis?
Oh yeah, definitely. This time around, the Rebels are on the offensive. And one little mechanic that's worth mentioning is that the capture progress of these capture points are actually persistent.
All right, so looking over here, we have Vicstar now, who is, actually, apologies, this is Vicstar. Vicstar holding it down inside of the shield as the enemy is just going to get ever so closer. He's going to be using that homing shot as well. We've seen the homing shot do some damage in a couple of our practice games, but not enough for Vicstar to stay alive.
Definitely not. So by having the capture point be persistent, that means that if Imperials retake the point, they can't reset the progress.
So it is going to be a persistent point, something that they have to be very cautious of. And you know what, though? I think for the Rebels, though, this is probably the best case scenario for them, right? Because they can just continuously throw bodies on it. We've seen some pretty intense matches, but it seems like the line has been broken. So we are going to have the Imperial troops fall back to defend section number 2, which will be coming up in just a little bit here, as you can see the progress bar on the map. Over here, Allier, though, he's looking to pick off a couple players on the left side. Finds one. It's going to be a solid kill for him. Yep. But there you can see, folks, you take over the first point, those go away. Now 2 more points in Section 2 are going to pop up. It's going to be played in 4 waves. Let's see if the Rebels can continue to advance the line forward, as Allier is looking to prevent that with the rest of the Galactic Empire.
It's definitely going to be a lot more challenging for the Rebels here. They don't have 3 points, they have 2 instead, so Imperials don't have to spread out as much. At the same time, as you can tell, this time around they have an ATST.
That's right, the ATST. And you had mentioned before, right, you know, the ATST will actually have to be used in a more defensive manner rather than the offensive. And another note as well, he's taking a lot of damage here. He only has 55 health remaining. You do have Legacy in that airspeeder. He's actually shooting at him right now. A battle between airspeeder, and he wins it. Huge win there for Ghost. Legacy gets picked off from the sky, and this ATST has been doing a lot of work, but he has to be mindful of the other airspeeder. That's going to be from Kite, and he's going to continue to lay down some more fire. Half health. Can he stay alive long enough here? It's going to suicide run. No! And it's going to be a A280 that will end up picking off that ATST. So Ghost Eye, good job from him for sure. Let's go back over to Allier and see how he's faring. Oh, ended up just getting picked off, but we'll stick with him off of the respawn here and see what he's going to do. Of course, guys, this is one thing I want to point out. No confidence from our 2 competitors. What's up with that, man? They're too nice to each other.
I agree,
you know?
I agree.
I feel like Vic was holding back the punches a little bit. You know, he could have been a little bit more aggressive.
Well, he doesn't want to upset the Force, clearly.
Well, one thing to point out, too, is that in the video, Allier was very, he was like, oh, I'm going to take him down. And then on the stage, he kind of held back a little bit.
Backed off, yeah, I know.
But it's all good. Of course, it seems like right now they're doing rather well. No points have been contested so far from the Rebel side. So the Empire is holding this one lovely.
Oh yeah, definitely. But they still have to hold it for another 5 minutes, which could prove problematic. The Rebels managed to get the first line broken pretty quickly.
But you had mentioned before,
okay, here we go.
Turning Point, that you have those 3 points, so it actually gets harder as you progress forward, right? And looking forward here, Allier can't stay alive. Over to Vicstar now, is going to be using that personal shield to try and progress forward. They are going to hold this. They have actually 5 people in the point right now. Can they use this to their advantage and make this one happen? About halfway time for them to be able to secure this capture point. If they just capture 1 point, folks, that's it. It's a wrap. They will move on to the next sector. Over to Legacy here. Let's see what's up with him as he's dealing with a bunch of Imperial troopers all around him. But they do have bodies inside of the point. Legacy finding one in front of him. Looking for another one as well in the distance. That's going to be a clear as well. Let's see if they can get more bodies on that point and get this cap going. They have a lot of time, by the way. 3 minutes and 57 seconds here, Dennis. And one thing you had mentioned before was that if the quicker you cap, the more time you end up getting for your team, because that time stacks.
Yes, definitely. And you can see the Imperials have now moved over to contest this point, but the Rebels have sort of prematurely moved on to the second one. You can tell across the map they're actually contesting the other capture point right now. We'll see if they manage to hold it.
Smart strategy here from the Rebels as Vikkstar is going to find someone. He's going to go for the melee. No, he's in that shield. He could have gone for the melee, but instead opting to pick him off at a distance. Smart plays. Finding another one in front of him. Can he go for the trip? But that homing came in at the worst possible time. Our members of the Rebel Alliance are going to be down here.
Capture point just fell. Yep, they managed to get the other one.
They managed to get it. So the rest of the Rebels have managed to secure that. They're going to push the line yet again as we jump over to Allier and the crew. Let's see if they're going to manage to be able to hold this one off and force them to waste more time, but they do get that extra 3 minutes. So that means 6 minutes and 14 seconds are on the clock now. Allier and crew have to be sweating a little bit here, Dennis.
Yeah, definitely. We'll see. The final point will be problematic to take no matter what, so they want as much time as possible.
All right, over to Ghost Eye here. Allier could not stay alive long enough. Let's see what Ghost Eye could do as he's going to look to move forward with his galactic brother, and they do have an ATST down. So we'll see if the ATST will be able to cause as much carnage as it did before. Those vehicles have certainly helped them out quite a bit. And another thing to point out too is how the terrain affects an ATST. How did you guys take that into consideration when you were designing this map?
Well, we wanted to provide some cover for the ATST. At the same time, it's a pretty tall vehicle.
Yeah. And
with the sand dunes and everything, it is tricky to hide with it, especially from ion weapons and what have you. So.
Oh yeah, that thermal imploder.
Oh yeah,
thing just
that one too.
It.
Yeah, we saw that before.
Yeah, it just destroys it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I could see that being the case. And another thing too to point out, there are no heroes, right, on this particular geek type.
Well, since this is actually sort of showing something that happens after the Battle of Endor in the movies, all the heroes are actually either disappeared or just dead.
Or not around.
Yeah, they're not around in any way.
I feel like it. Let it be Rebels versus Empire.
Exactly,
right?
And there's no starfighters in Turning Point. Again, because most of them have been destroyed by then, or they're busy fighting in the galaxy.
So I think this is actually pretty cool for a lot of fans of Star Wars, especially with The Force Awakens coming out right around the corner. It's like you're taking part of a critical part in the history of Star Wars, which is awesome.
Exactly, and it's a sandbox, it's multiplayer. Both sides are able to win in multiplayer. They have to. So
it would suck to play the Empire every time.
And know that you have to lose because that's what happens, I guess. So no, it's still a sandbox experience. It's still you just living your own Star Wars fantasies.
All right, well, let's make our way over to Vikkstar here, who has a good angle, looking to put in some more blaster fire across map. And you see that right there, folks. I mean, they made some progress on that. Ooh, gets picked off from a distance there. Not doing too bad, by the way. Just want to point that out. So we'll see how he continues to progress in this battle. And they
Rebels
have
are attacking.
Yes, right. They have 3 Rebels on the point. 2 Rebels now. 5, 6, 7. How many Rebels do you actually need to be able to get the maximum time to cap?
It depends on how many Imperials are in the same place.
Fair point.
Yeah, but the multiplayer goes up to 5, but we're still showing how many Rebels are actually capping at the time.
That's awesome. So you know how many bodies are in that, and it can get pretty high.
Exactly.
And look at the Empire just completely surrounding it. And that personal shield looking to do some work, but you can't fire with the personal shield out. So he's going to have to wait, get a better position, better vantage point. That ATST, though, that is going to cause a lot of problems if Vikkstar and the Rebels are not careful.
Yeah, the Imperial Army has just completely switched over to this side. This is the opportunity when the Rebels should switch to the left control point and attack that one instead. We'll see if they manage.
Vikkstar looking to use the terrain as best as he possibly can. And let's stick with Vikkstar here through this life. Can he manage to stay alive? ATST on the move. As you can see, it's defending the point rather than pushing forward. That homing missile is just nasty. A kill streak here for Vikkstar as well. He is doing work. They're going to push forward. Personal shield in front. But that impact grenade not going to do all that much. Hey, buddy, gets caught off guard, but somehow manages to stay alive. Let's go over to Allier here as he is looking to also use his EE3 as well as that homing rocket to be able to do maximum damage to the Rebels and hold them off in this run. They have 2 minutes and 26 seconds left to cap this one, Dennis. this is not looking good for the Rebels. They're all holed up in this little spot here, and Allier is just going to pick them off.
Yeah, they definitely need to switch sides right now. They have the ATSD, they have the majority of the Imperial Army waiting for them in the capture point. They need to switch sides.
And let's see what Allier can do here. More Rebels in front, perhaps. They're looking to cause as much damage to that ATST as they possibly can. And just look at the range that he's getting, though, on that gun. That blaster is serving him real well.
It's Boba Fett's.
Yeah, right? You just can't go wrong with it.
No, definitely not.
Let's actually see what's going on with the Rebel side here. Back over to Vicstar's POV, as they're going to be the ones on the attack. 1 minute and 43 seconds left. They have bodies on the point, and they have managed to clear it out. And you can see the Empire actually on the right portion of the map there. So they need to get to this point as soon as they possibly can. You have 6 bodies on it. They're looking to close this one out quickly. But they only have 1 minute and 25 seconds left to make it happen.
Yep. We'll see if they manage. Now the Imperial Army is slowly moving forward, but yeah, we'll see.
This is a huge opportunity for the Rebels if they're going to be able to secure this one. Oh, man. But there goes the thermal detonator just landing right in front of Vicstar. Poor guy. Could not stay alive long enough. Over to Kite's perspective here.
Now they're moving to the right one again.
And that's smart, right? It's
you have to rotate around them. You have to pick at them and just see where you can overwhelm the defensive.
Yeah, they have definitely put the Empire on their toes. And just look at this push here. You have 6 members of the Rebel Alliance advancing, 8 holding down this point here. This could very well be a cap.
Here comes the Imperial.
Remember, guys, if that timer goes down to 0, but they still have bodies on the point, they will continue to capture it. Will this be the Rebels' day as they fall? Vicstar, though, over to him. He is going to get dropped as well. Legacy and the rest of the crew cannot stay alive long enough, but will the rest of the Rebels hold this one down? Because they are so close. 23 seconds left, Dennis.
We'll see. We'll see. I mean, just because the time runs out doesn't mean necessarily that the mode ends right there. If there are Rebels on the point, the game will continue until the Imperial have overwhelmed them.
Well, they only have 8 seconds to make this one happen. Will Vicstar and the crew manage to secure that one? They have no one on the points right now. Huge kills, though. One